Now at 9, with the eclipse on its way, we'll take you to a local solar-bration. Plus, April is Child Abuse Prevention Month. We'll show you how local community members are raising awareness.
A lot of Americans are finding work. I'm David Asman with the Fox Business Network. More coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The family of Riley Strain is speaking out for the first time since his body was found after he went missing in Nashville. This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Anthony Saviello. Search crews recovered the Springfield native's body in Nashville's Cumberland River about 2 weeks ago. His family is still searching for answers and waiting on results from 2 autopsies. Lauren Schwenker has more.
He had the most infectious smile, the best hugs. I loved his family.
He
loved his family.
It's been 2 weeks since the body of Riley Strain was found. His family says there's one thing helping them get through.
The people.
The hours people spent looking and searching. Every time we would go down to the area, there was somebody searching. We just could look around and there were so many people.
Didn't know us, didn't know our family, and they're showing up. I mean, we know of one couple that were there every day, 4, 6, 8 hours a day, searching for our son.
The 22-year-old was a student at the University of Missouri. He went missing on March 8th after police say he was kicked out of a bar in downtown Nashville. He was there with his fraternity.
I think I can speak for everybody. It would have been unbearable to have left Nashville without him and not know when or if he would ever be found. That's just something that no parent would even want to consider dealing with the rest of their life.
Riley's story grabbed national headlines, and thousands online are asking questions. It's something Riley's family wanted to address.
We've had a lot of questions as far as pants, belt, wallet, boots. None of those items have been found. We're pretty certain that he would have been wearing a belt at the time.
Right now, they say the medical examiner will not give them any information, not even any of the preliminary details, until everything is finalized. So Riley's family asked for a second autopsy here in Missouri to set their mind at ease.
We're 8 to 12 weeks out on results from the autopsies. We're, of course, 2 weeks into that almost at this time, but we're kind of basically in a holding pattern, waiting for answers ourselves.
We hope to be able to get clear information to give to everybody because speculation doesn't do anything.
And they say they're not giving up until they get answers.
We truly are a family. We are Riley's family. And we always will be.
An actor who appeared in the Yellowstone spin-off series 1923 was found dead in Kansas on Friday. Police had been looking for 27-year-old Cole Brings Plenty since Sunday in connection with a domestic violence case. Now, a death investigation is underway after deputies cleared the scene near 200th and Homestead Lane Friday afternoon. Cole Brings Plenty appeared in 2 episodes of 1923 and had recent roles in 2 other westerns. It was a gorgeous day outside. Meteorologist Lindsay Gaffney.
So temperatures out in Joplin right now. It's still clear and 70 degrees. However, we do have some thunderstorms rolling in. The severe thunderstorm warning that was in our western counties has expired, and we're going to continue to follow these storms, but as you can tell, they are already starting to fall apart and dissipate. They were organized when they first entered our region, and as they continue on, they will continue to dissipate, especially right after they pass that Missouri border. Now, we've had a lot of rainfall all the way through this area, and we do also have some storms that are collecting in Tulsa, north of Tulsa, and moving into our area, possibly bringing us a severe storm, and we'll keep an eye on that one. There is a severe thunderstorm warning for that storm, and it's just south of our region. Now we have this low risk today and a low risk for storms on Monday, but I will keep you guys updated on the storms tonight, and we'll take a closer look at the storms on Monday up next.
Thanks, Lindsay. The solar eclipse is this Monday, and the Creative Learning Alliance is celebrating this weekend. The event kicked off yesterday with an opening reception. Today's attendees were able to watch a production of how the eclipse affects animals and check out various education stations, including making eclipse art, mood headbands, and UV bead bracelets.
I think it means a lot of things for the community. It's a chance to learn something while you're having fun, and it's something that's for us. It's for our region. It's for our hometowns, and it's going to be a place to learn and to grow and to be together in the community.
Celebrations continue through Monday with presentations from the Joplin Public Library and a viewing party during the eclipse. Today, people had the opportunity to learn more about potential jobs in public safety. The City of Joplin hosted an expo at the Joplin Public Safety Center. The expo gave potential candidates the chance to speak with public safety groups one-on-one and see live demonstrations of different jobs.
Anybody that's interested in public safety, we're always ready to have that conversation, and we want people to explore their interest and see what's available. A lot of people don't know what the City of Joplin has to offer when it comes to public safety, so this event just provides that extra opportunity to dig a little bit deeper.
Public safety officials at the event say the hope is to continue holding expos like this in the future to help reach more people. Fans got a chance to watch some friendly baseball at Will Norton's Miracle Field in Joplin. Today was the season opener for the Miracle League in Joplin, an organization that helps provide an opportunity for those with disabilities to play a sport. Organizers say they have more participants signed up than ever before.
It actually feels like really nice, having them help compete, have fun, and just be an athlete, it just feels amazing.
The Miracle League of Joplin teams for both children and adults. This season's games will run through May. April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and the Children's Advocacy Center is spreading awareness with a Go Blue SEK event. The purpose of the event was for the community to learn more about how to support prevention efforts. It also included bounce houses, obstacle courses, barrel trains, and much more.
Well, again, I think it's important that, God forbid anybody needs the services available here in the region, especially with child abuse. It's important to know that they are here, and there's like the Children's Advocacy Center is an amazing resource for victims of child abuse and their families.
The event was held at Lincoln Park in Pittsburgh. Prom season is here, and a local nonprofit is helping students find the perfect dress. The event today, hosted by Dream Center of the 4 States, provided students with more than 40 dresses to choose from. Organizers say the event aims to ensure all students feel confident and glamorous for prom.
There are girls and even boys that can't afford to do these things, and it's okay to not be able to afford those things. It's not shameful, and the community will not look down on you. They should help build you up and make you feel as beautiful as possible, and most important on important occasions.
Today's event began at 10 this morning and wrapped up around 2. Coming up, the psychology behind putting off your taxes. With the deadline to file on April 15th right around the corner, psychologists say there's new research shedding light on why some people procrastinate when it comes to tax season. Fox News' Gary Baumgarten has that story.
With the deadline to file your taxes quickly approaching, psychologists are analyzing the findings of a new study, revealing that people whose behavior tends to be guided by their negative attitudes usually delay completing tasks they find unpleasant, like their taxes.
Those for whom negative attitudes tend to generalize more strongly seem to be the kind of people that delay filing their taxes.
Russell Fazio of The Ohio State University says people are faced with a process called valence weighting bias. It describes the tendency of people to tap more into either a positive or negative mindset when faced with new or tedious responsibilities.
We find that people with a negative valence weighting bias are more cautious,
Researchers found those who leaned more into their negative thoughts when deciding to file their taxes early wound up procrastinating, even if there was a benefit of receiving a tax refund.
It could have been something that had been done, say, over the course of a few days, maybe even a week, but now it's got to be done in a rush fashion.
But having a negative weighting bias is not always a bad thing. When it comes to preparing for a test, for instance, researchers say these types of people are usually more realistic about how they will perform, while people with a positive weighting bias can be overconfident and generate a false sense of security. Gary Baumgarten, Fox News.
Travel and tourism is expected to bring in over $11 trillion in 2024. A report released by the World Travel and Tourism Council this year will beat the roughly $10 trillion the industry made before the pandemic in 2019. The report estimates around $5 trillion will be spent by domestic travelers and nearly $2 million by international tourists. They also predict global tourism will contribute to nearly 500 million jobs. Job numbers giving gas to the markets, but it looks like gas is costing you more at the pump this weekend. Fox Business Network's David Asman has a look at these stories and more in tonight's Fox Means Business.
A lot of companies going on a hiring spree. The U.S. economy added 303,000 jobs in March. That's 100,000 more than analysts were expecting. Healthcare, government, along with leisure and hospitality were the sectors that saw the biggest gains. The strong jobs report didn't cause much concern on Wall Street Friday. Stocks actually rose and rebounded from Thursday's sell-off. This is despite some fearing a strong labor market could give the Federal Reserve a reason not to cut interest rates anytime soon. Meanwhile, it was a down week overall. All three major markets finished in negative territory. In fact, it was the Dow's worst weekly performance in more than a year. Gas prices are rising ahead of the weekend. AAA says the national average cost for regular gas is now $3.58 a gallon. That's a nickel more than last week and 22 cents higher than a month ago. That's business. I'm David Asman.
Lindsay is next with a complete look at the forecast, and later, the Powerball jackpot continues to rise.
We've got a line of storms moving through our region right now, and we will keep you updated on that. We're going to take a look outside and see winds picking up out at the downtown Joplin from Cornell Complex. You can see those winds are blowing pretty fast. Camera shaking. We've got a wind as the main threat for these storms, but there is no severe thunderstorm warning for our area. As you can see, most of these storms have dissipated. We'll move into the northern region, and these have, they started as a pretty collected line of storms, have now dissipated off and just heavier rainfall. Now, these southern parts of the storm is a little bit more collected still. As you can see, Tulsa just had a severe thunderstorm. They canceled their severe thunderstorm warning as this storm quickly dissipated, but it is moving into our area and it's still heavier rainfall, and you may see some small hail. But like I said, the main threat for this storm is going to be wind, fast winds gusting up to about 50 miles per hour. If not up, maybe up to 60 miles per hour, depending on where it is. But as it hits this Missouri border, it is going to dissipate pretty drastically. It hits an area of lower instability. So all the instability that has been driving the system is going to diminish it pretty quickly as it moves through. Now, the main cause of these storms is actually a dry line that's pushing through our region. So after these storms pass our region tomorrow, we're going to have this massive patch of dry air mass moving into our area, and it's not just less than 30% humidity, it's going to be even lower than that. It's going to be very dry, so we do have fire weather concern for tomorrow. Now tonight, these storms are going to continue until about midnight. After that, it's just going to be some rain showers, and the main threat is heavy rain, fast winds, and possibly some small hail, but it is only a low risk for storms. And here you can start to see, we're going to predict where that storm is going to continue on moving through our region. Still some patches of heavier rain right along that border, about 10. Now this is 12:30 a.m. little bit heavier rainfall, and if you see in the south of Tulsa, collected storms, still isolated thunderstorms are moving through, but after it passes Joplin, it is just heavy rainfall, no threat for severe weather, and it's going to continue on out of here, and by 7 a.m. we'll be completely clear and no clouds left in sight. So tomorrow, it's going to be sunny, temperatures about 70 degrees. Now we do have winds continuing tomorrow as well, along with the dry air mass that's moving in after these storms. So we have a pretty severe fire weather threat for tomorrow, and we may see a red flag warning issued for our area as well. Continuing on, we have some clouds rolling in ahead of some more storms coming in on Tuesday that we're concerned may cover the solar eclipse, but we have about 70 to 80% cloud coverage for the time of the solar eclipse that we'll continue to keep an eye on. Possibly the storm system may be delayed, causing those clouds to roll in a little bit later. We may see the solar eclipse. We may have enough visibility for that. Now those storms continue all the way through Thursday morning, but after that it's going to be a pretty nice weekend following this weekend.
People who want to watch the solar eclipse better hope for some clear skies.
Definitely,
yeah.
Definitely.
Awesome. Thanks, Lindsay. Coming up, Fox on Games.
At the recent Game Developers Conference in San Francisco, Fortnite creator Epic Games revealing a new plan to keep building up the metaverse. I'm Eamon Dignam in New York, and I spoke to a vendor who's helping build up the internet-based world.
The gaming giant behind Fortnite and the Lego game is investing heavily in the so-called metaverse. Fox's Eamon Dignam has more on this edition of Fox on Game series.
Epic Games is one of the biggest developers in the gaming world, and now they're doubling down on creating new worlds inside their most popular titles. The company earlier this year announcing they're bringing the world of Lego to their Unreal editor for Fortnite, giving players a break from the traditional last man standing battle royale mode that made the game famous, to instead build games inside of the game, similar to competitor Roblox. Michael Herriger is CEO and co-founder of Atlas Creative. They help build commercially themed worlds in Fortnite and Roblox. He says this is just the beginning.
I think it's going to attract a brand new audience that isn't necessarily looking for combat game modes.
And moves like this could help serve as a model for other brands to get involved in the metaverse.
I honestly could see this becoming the industry standard. If you want to build a Spider-Man game mode, we want to empower you to do that.
Ultimately, the possibilities presented by the metaverse could lead to the creation of new communities, games, and even experiences seen in movies like Ready Player One.
You go in and you support and you buy something like a hat from Atlas in a game, and then we ship it to your house as well. I think that's probably one of the things I'm most excited about.
The next step, bringing small businesses to the metaverse when it becomes economically viable to do so, meaning mom and pop shops could eventually make sales in the gaming space. Check out this story and more every weekend in the Fox on Tech, Fox on Games podcast. In New York, Eamon Dignam, Fox News.
The Powerball jackpot is now into 10 figures for Saturday, and the number of drawings without a winner continues to climb. The payoff is now estimated at $1.09 billion, the fourth largest grand prize in Powerball history. The all-at-once lump sum cash prize is valued at $527 million. A Russian space capsule carrying 2 women and 1 man landed safely in Kazakhstan. The 3 had just completed their mission aboard the International Space Station. The Suez MS-24 was carrying Russia's Oleg Novitsky, NASA's Laurel O'Hara, and Marina Valiskava of Belarus. The space station serves as a symbol of post-Cold War international cooperation. It's now one of the last remaining areas of collaboration between Russia and the West amid tensions over Moscow's invasion of Ukraine. Up next, a couple of sea turtles return to the ocean. 34 sea turtles in Georgia returned to the ocean. The sea turtles were released back into the ocean after months of rehabilitation. The turtles were transported from Massachusetts to Jekyll Island in Georgia to be let back into the ocean, all thanks to the efforts of multiple marine conservation societies and aquariums. Of the sea turtles rehabilitated and placed back in the ocean, 33 were Kemp's Ridley sea turtles, and only 1 was a green sea turtle. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way.
The aftershocks keep coming after a 4.8 magnitude earthquake rocked the tri-state area. I'm Connor Hansen in New York with the details.
Officials in the Northeast say no one was hurt and there's no serious damage after a 4.8 magnitude earthquake shook major cities like New York and Philadelphia. Fox News correspondent Connor Hansen has the story from New York where people could feel the ground shake.
There have not been any reports of people getting hurt in the quake, but it was an unnerving feeling for people here in New York who rarely feel one that strong, and aftershocks have continued to rattle the area. Earthcam footage capturing Midtown Manhattan shaking from the ground to the Statue of Liberty's torch.
I was not expecting an earthquake. No one warned me about an earthquake.
Airports and rail lines saw delays.
My reaction was, it is what it is. We got to deal with it and we'll make it work. Let's not be under stress. Let's deal with the facts.
City inspectors are now going through buildings and infrastructure like subways, tunnels, and bridges.
We're ready for the unexpected. This is New York City, and we respond accordingly.
The earthquake was felt in at least 14 states along the East Coast. The epicenter about an hour away from Manhattan in New Jersey.
We saw that, immediate influx of 911 call volume, basically folks that were worried and, uncertain as to what had happened. But as quickly as that spiked, we saw it kind of wax and wane.
Everything just shook. I've never felt anything like that before.
And geophysicists say there's a reason East Coast earthquakes are so rare.
To generate the earthquake will require a strain to accumulate, forces to have to build up that will be released during the earthquake. And these forces are very small along the East Coast.
The earthquake was the strongest to hit the New York City area in more than a century. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
Rescuers helped evacuate more than 4,200 people in Orsk, Russia on Saturday after a dam broke, flooding neighborhoods. The high waters are being blamed for the deaths of at least 3 people. In some places, the water rose to 13 feet in just a few hours. The river is normally 18 feet, but reached 31.5 feet. Authorities say the dam's hydraulic structure was not maintained, and a criminal investigation has been opened. Thousands of protesters gathered in Tel Aviv to call on the government to reach a deal to free hostages being held by Hamas. The demonstrators are also demanding early elections. The next general elections are not scheduled until October 2026. Sunday marks 6 months since Hamas staged a surprise attack on Israel, setting off a half a year of conflict. Hamas took about 250 people hostage, and 133 of them are still being held. President Biden is dealing with a major campaign concern as he comes under increasing fire over his administration's apparent change in attitude. The chief executive is pushing hard for a ceasefire with Hamas and a greater focus on civilian casualties. Fox News correspondent Lucas Tomlinson has the latest from the White House.
President Biden insists the U.S. stands with Israel, even as critics claim the White House is undermining its closest ally in the Middle East, and as more Democrats call on the White House to put conditions on U.S. aid. Israel today announcing findings from its investigation into a drone strike Monday night that killed 7 aid workers, including an American, with World Central Kitchen. Writing it was, quote, a grave mistake stemming from a serious failure due to a mistaken identification, errors in decision-making, and an attack contrary to standard operating procedures. The Israeli military fired 2 officers and punished 3 others for the botched strike. U.S. officials insist more must be done to protect those caught in the crossfire.
As Israel pursues any military operations against Hamas, it has to prioritize the protection of civilians. It has to make that job number 1.
During the American withdrawal from Afghanistan, the Pentagon declined to punish anyone involved in a drone strike that killed 10 Afghans, including 7 children. White House spokesman John Kirby was asked about the comparison.
These are events that happened 3 years apart, 2 different geographic locations, 2 different countries, 2 different sets of circumstances. There was no need for personal accountability to be had, but did find that the U.S. military needed to make some systemic changes.
Sunday marks 6 months since the Hamas massacre. On Monday, family members of some of the American hostages will meet with National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan at the White House. In Baltimore today, President Biden met the family members of the 6 men killed when the Key Bridge collapsed. Biden pledged the full support of the federal government to help Baltimore rebuild.
By the end of May, we'll open the full channel.
At the White House, Lucas Tomlinson, Fox News.
Still ahead, why adopted pets are getting returned back to shelters.
So we're tracking some storms that are moving through our region right now. Although they are not as severe as what they started out to be, we'll still take a look outside and see. Right now, Joplin is still pretty clear, although you can see those winds blowing the camera around out from the Cornell Complex image. Now, main threat with these storms is going to be the fast winds. We don't have a severe thunderstorm warning for our area because these storms they're just below that severe level. And this is what they look like right now. They're pushing through near Pittsburgh, Joplin, Miami, about to enter the Pittsburgh and Miami region, and we'll continue on and see all these northern parts of the storms have dissipated. They started off way more organized when they entered the counties in the west, but as they continue on, it's just going to be widespread rain and fast winds. But the southern portion of the storm is still collected, and we do have this one system making its way through Veneta and going to Miami, although it is entering an air of more stable atmosphere, less instability in that area. So those storms are going to continue to diminish as they pass through our region, although the main threat still is these fast winds. We could see winds gusting up to 50 to 60 miles per hour. That same storm that passed through Tulsa was indicated at about 55 miles per hour as it passed through that region. So we're going to keep an eye on that, but the rest of us are mostly in the clear. We will still get some rain as it passes through our region, but the main severe threat has diminished, and it'll continue to diminish as it passes that Missouri border, and we'll continue to watch that. But the thing that is driving this storm, not a cold front, but it's a dry line. So you can see the difference. This is the storms that are passing through, and a lot of moisture there, but right behind it is very dry air mass that's coming through our region, and it's going to affect us tomorrow. So tomorrow we're going to have pretty dry air, and that's a concern because we also will still have some pretty fast winds. Right now you'll see them continue to gust up to 30 to 50 miles per hour before the storm, and then continuing on till tomorrow 9 a.m. still gusting up to about 30 miles per hour, and that'll continue on through the evening, late afternoon hours into the evening. So we have the dry air mass and winds still gusting. So tomorrow we'll have a pretty severe threat for fire weather right after all of these storms pass. Now, you can see the line of the severity of these storms. The marginal risk is in Kansas, doesn't pass through Missouri because these storms are entering less instability when they come through Missouri. So we won't have that severe threat after they pass that Missouri border, but there is still that chance of heavy rain and fast winds, possibly some small hail, especially from that storm that's moving through Veneta and Miami. Now we'll see it start to diminish as we continue on. Widespread rain, it's not going to be in that organized line anymore as it continues on through Missouri, and then after it leaves our area we'll still have some rain showers here and there, but by 7 a.m. it's completely out of our region, and we are going to be having that dry air on Sunday, and then we'll have some clouds moving in for that solar eclipse coming on Monday, just ahead of the storms that are making its way into our region Monday night. So we'll keep an eye on the cloud coverage as well.
Absolutely. Hopefully make sure to wear their sunglasses either way.
Definitely we'll want to, but hopefully we can still see it. That's what I'm hoping for.
Absolutely. Thanks, Lindsay.
Yep.
Coming up in sports, Missouri Southern baseball looks to bounce back after their losing their second home game of the season. Plus, Pitt State softball squares off with their cross-state rival. Brock Baldridge has the highlights from the game and more.
Well, we've made it to one of the most highly anticipated softball matchups of the year as the Missouri Southern Lions travel to face the Pittsburgh State Gorillas for their first and only meeting of the regular season. Doubleheader in Pittsburgh today as the Gorillas meet their rivals Missouri Southern. So starting things off in the bottom of the first inning, PSU leads 1-0. Maddie Fernandez goes to the opposite field and that drives in a run. The Gorillas take a 2-0 lead. Later that inning, Pitt State looks to keep the rally going as Caden Trochim lines this ball into center field. Maya Snyder will round third and come in to score, and Pitt State scores their 4th run of the inning. So we go to the 3rd inning now. Trochim once again, except this time get the tape measure out for KT. That ball is long gone for a solo home run, and Pitt State leads 6-0. So in the circle for the Gorillas today is the freshman Ava Laurent, swinging a miss there in the 1st. Later that inning, Laurent gets a strikeout with the bases loaded. So we go to the 7th inning now. Laurent gets a fly ball to complete the game as Courtney Story makes a nice catch there in the outfield. Pitt State takes game 1, defeats Missouri Southern 8-1. We go to game 2 of the doubleheader. We start early in the top of the 1st as Kara Amos gets things started with a line drive to center field. That falls for a hit. A run comes in to score, and the Lions strike first. It's 1-0 Southern. To the bottom half of the 1st inning, Paxton Hayes hits this ball past the infield into the gap, and it's an RBI double. Pitt State ties the game. It's 1-1. So later that inning, the Gorillas take a 2-1 lead. Kaden Trochim continues her big day at the plate as she hits a bullet back up the middle. It's an RBI single, and Pitt State leads 3-1. So the top of the 2nd inning now, Abby DeSanto leans back, and that's going to be a big fly out there in the shrubs. Solo home run, and Southern makes it a 3-2 game. We go to the bottom of the 2nd now. Paxton Hayes hits a high chopper over the infield. Elena Rushing comes around to score, and Pitt State goes on to complete the sweep by winning game 2 12-4, and the Gorillas improved to 38-4 on the season. Well, the Missouri Southern Lions baseball team dropped their opening game of the series against Central Oklahoma last night, and the Lions look to get things turned around since losing 3 of their last 4. Last night, the Lions lost their 2nd straight home game of the season, but MSSU takes care of business today. The Lions handle the Broncos and win this game 11-1 in 7 innings. Garrett Rice goes 3 for 4 with 5 RBIs. Southern will go for the series win tomorrow at 1 p.m. More action in the MIAA tonight. Pitt State on the road facing one of the best teams in the country, but Central Missouri gets the best of the Gorillas today. Mules win this game 8-5. Both teams back at it tomorrow at noon. Well, the St. Louis Cardinals return home to Busch Stadium on Thursday, and after a day off, the Redbirds get back to action on Saturday afternoon. Great day for baseball out at Busch Stadium. We pick things up in the 4th inning. Jordan Walker lines this ball down fair down the left field line. It's an RBI double. Walker gets her up to second base. It's a 1-0 Cardinals lead. Later that inning, Trevor Rogers tries to pick off Alec Burleson, but he throws the ball away. That's going to be an error. That allows Walker to come in to score, and St. Louis takes a 2-0 lead. So we go to the 5th inning now. Same score, runner on third, 2 outs. Ivan Herrera hits this up the middle. Luis Ariz makes a great stop, but the throw is too late to first base. Cardinals go up 3-0. To the 9th inning, last chance for the Marlins as Avisail Garcia grounds out to third, and St. Louis picks up the win at home. Cardinals defeat the Marlins 3-1. They'll go for the sweep tomorrow afternoon. There's a look for sports. We're back after this.
Adoption centers for pets often allow them to find a forever home. And although many times they do, what happens when these furry guys go back to the shelters because of the families they find are just not the right fit? Fox's Victoria Saha has more.
Inside the Henderson Animal Shelter, it's loud and clear. Dogs and cats are waiting for their forever home.
His owner had to go into hospice. None of the family members could take care of the cat.
A shelter that often finds itself very busy. And to make room, they sometimes have adoption fees waived, but it can backfire.
We tend to see an increase in those animals who are returned.
Athena has been in the shelter since last October. She's been adopted out, but then her adopters realized that she didn't fit in with their lifestyle. But you're a good girl, right? A good girl who just can't seem to find the right owner.
It crushes a piece of you.
How do you vet a family coming in so they can know that they are walking away with the right dog?
We do our best to educate people, to ask questions. Hey, have you had animals before? Tell me a little bit about your lifestyle, your activity level.
As senior kennel attendant, Carissa Babbitt leads families to the right dog. But often folks just want whichever dog is the cutest or the coolest. And then they realize it isn't a match.
They're adopted, they go to a home, they start to have that moment of relief of, It's quiet, I'm starting to get into my head, and then all of a sudden they're back in this noise and in the stress.
The shelter says do your research on the breed and take the time to get to know the dog at the shelter, like we found Ashley Gonzalez doing with her new puppy, Pluto.
I wanted to make sure her temperament would fit, how she felt, her size, obviously, to see in general what she was like.
Because at the end of the day, these animals shouldn't be used for a free test run.
Are you ready to go home?
Instead, with a wagging tail, they should be running off to their forever home.
Up next, an officer in Texas turns animal wrangler for a day. A police officer on duty in Texas captures a goat and a peacock in the same day. It happened Monday in the town of Irving. The goat fell from a trailer onto Highway 183. Officer Ryan Turner chased the goat into a parking lot of a shopping plaza where, with the help of other officers, he captured the goats. Then, just 15 minutes later, answered a call of a peacock on the loose, and Officer Turner caught the bird and returned it to its owner. That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We'll leave you with a video of meerkat pups at the Brookfield Chicago Zoo. From all of us here at KOAM, have a great night.